Are you ready to transform your summer into an epic splash-tastic adventure? Say goodbye to wasteful, single-use water balloons and hello to the ultimate in reusable, eco-friendly fun with reusable water balloons. Check out the link in the video description to get yours on Amazon today.
Claims that the prisons crisis could trigger a breakdown of law and order within weeks were blasted by the Tories as shameless scaremongering last night. Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood will on Friday unveil a series of measures granting early release to thousands of inmates, which she will say are necessary to avert unchecked criminality on our streets. Officials suggested criminals would run amok if the jails reached maximum capacity and were left unable to accept new prisoners. But the Conservatives accused the government of deploying scare tactics. A senior Tory source said, "This is shameless scaremongering from the Labour Party that risks causing mass panic. Labour have come into government with hundreds of prison places available, but they've lost their nerve, and are now stoking public panic for political gain." Ahead of a speech by Ms. Mahmood, a government spokesman said, the Justice Secretary will explain that if prisons were to run out of places, police cells would rapidly fill up, courts would be forced to delay cases and police unable to arrest dangerous criminals, putting the public at risk from unchecked criminality on our streets. One senior police source said a failure to free up prison cells risked moving into uncharted territory. It would leave frontline police almost powerless to act against criminals and thugs, it was suggested. Government insiders said prisons, currently with just 700 spare places for adult males, could be completely full towards the end of next month. If nothing was done, would be professionally very, very worried by the August bank holiday, a senior prison source said. Once the jails are full, police station cells would be at capacity just days later, meaning police officers would effectively be unable to arrest criminals on the streets, it was suggested. A senior police source said the system would grind to a halt if newly remanded criminals could not be sent from the courts to prison. If those prisoners aren't collected, we very quickly will run out of space in police cells, the source said. Many forces we estimated would run out of space in about 3 days or less. And clearly that is a situation that is completely intolerable, because you would get to the point where arresting officers wouldn't have anywhere to take people they're arresting. And, of course, that in itself may impact on behavior of the public and particularly criminals. So that would be a very serious situation to get into an uncharted territory, and we need to avoid that at all costs. It is understood that senior figures in the criminal justice system fear it could trigger looting, opportunistic crimes and brazen breaches of bail conditions by offenders living in the community. Sir Keir Starmer said yesterday the jail crisis left him beyond frustrated, and blamed the previous government for failing to act sooner. He confirmed thousands of inmates will have to be freed early, but said exemption categories will mean high-risk prisoners are ineligible. Describing the situation as shocking and much worse than what I was expecting, the Prime Minister said, "It is a basic function of government to make sure that we have the prison places we need for those people who have been sent to prison by our courts. For that to have broken down is a catastrophic failure of the last government." The Justice Secretary's announcements are expected to include allowing prisoners to be automatically freed after serving 40% of their sentence, rather than the current 50%. Overall, 20,000 inmates could be released early in the next few months. Former Conservative Justice Secretary Alex Chalk, who lost his seat last week, said Labour's reported plan will buy you 18 months, but it won't buy you any more. Asked if former PM Rishi Sunak had blocked similar measures, Mr. Chalk refused to disclose private discussions but added, "It is reasonable to say there were a variety of views about what could be got through Parliament." Tory MP Neil O'Brien said, "The idea that we would be safer if lots of criminals are let out of jail is absolute nonsense. We already know the new Prisons Minister James Timpson thinks that only 1/3 of prisoners should even be there." Both he and the Prime Minister are fundamentally anti-prison. In the puzzle box of the criminal justice system, there are